All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on something called intimate commerce, and it's been one of the biggest shakeups in retail over the last decade. It's really the story of how a handful of brands completely reinvented the lingerie industry and in the process built honest-to-goodness multi-million-dollar empires.
And look, when I say empires, I'm not kidding. This number you see here, over $500 million, that isn't the total value of the market. Nope, that's a pretty typical valuation for just one of these game-changing brands. So we're not talking about small-time stuff. We're talking about companies that hit massive financial success in a surprisingly short amount of time.
So that brings us to the big question, right? How did they pull it off? How did something as seemingly simple as underwear become the cornerstone for these modern empires? Well, it definitely wasn't an accident. There's a secret formula at play here, and we're about to break it down, piece by piece.
See, this whole success story is built on a very deliberate, very smart shift in strategy. It's a million-dollar secret that doesn't start with flashy marketing, but with the product itself, and, more importantly, how customers think about it.
This slide just lays out the revolution perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way of thinking. Lingerie was a luxury, it was exclusive, and it was almost always for an audience, for someone else. But the new way, it completely flips that script. It's reframed as a necessity, it's inclusive, and crucially, it's for yourself. That's the huge shift, from being for someone else to being for your own comfort and confidence.
So, let's get into that secret formula. The very first ingredient is a total redefinition of the product. It's not just about what it is, but who it's really for. And this wasn't just about trying out new fabrics, it was about creating a whole new philosophy.
So the new blueprint was actually pretty simple, but totally radical at the time. First, prioritize all-day comfort. Forget special occasions. Second, and this is a big one, engineer inclusive sizing for real bodies. And third, put women in charge of the design. By focusing on solving these real-world problems, these brands created this fiercely loyal customer base that felt seen and understood, many for the very first time.
But, a great product isn't quite enough on its own. So the second crucial piece of the formula was the business model. These brands completely sidestepped the old, traditional way of getting products into the hands of their customers.
They did this using the direct-to-consumer model, or DTC. As you can see here, it just means there are no department stores, no middlemen. The brand sells straight from their website to your doorstep. And this simple change, well, it has some profound implications.
And this is exactly why DTC is so incredibly powerful. Just look at the advantages here. They get to own the entire customer relationship. They have total control over the brand story. They gather direct feedback and data, which is priceless. And it opens up the door for cool things like subscription models, turning what was a one-time purchase into an ongoing relationship.
Okay, so we've talked about the product and the business model. Now it's time for the third and, honestly, the most powerful part of the entire strategy. This is the magic ingredient that ties everything together, and it goes way beyond the physical item. It's all about selling a feeling.
Because when you really break it all down, the most successful brands realized pretty quickly that the product they were shipping out in a box wasn't the product their customers were actually buying. It was never ever just about the clothing.
It's about confidence. That's the key. The comfort, the inclusive sizing, the feeling of community, all of it was engineered to deliver an emotion. The lingerie was just the vehicle. Customers weren't just buying a bra. They were buying the confidence to feel good in their own skin every single day.
And this really brings us to the final, universal lesson here that applies to pretty much everything, far beyond the world of fashion. It's a fundamental truth of modern business. People ultimately don't buy things. They buy emotions. They buy transformations. They buy better versions of themselves.
So, the next time you buy anything, a phone, a coffee, a t-shirt, whatever, I want you to think about this. It's not just about the item in your hand. Ask yourself the question you see on the screen. What feeling are you really buying? The answer might just surprise you.